what's up? This is PallaviAnand the English coach from PallaviAnand.in. Friends, in this video we are going to talk about how you can improve your English alone from home in just 3 steps, just 3 things that you need to do to work on and improve your English. So if you're new to my channel, welcome. If you're not new, hi. So again, let's talk about the 3 things you need to do to work on your English skills alone from home. And by doing these things, you're really gonna see some dramatic improvements. Friends, now I want to say a couple of things first. I have talked about 2 of these things before, but I haven't really discussed the other one yet. So I'm excited to get into that mode. And the other thing is that a lot of people don't progress in their English skills because they are only doing 1 or 2 of these things that I'm about to list now. So as you're watching this video, I just want you to analyze your own situation and what you can do to improve your own habits to get the desired results. The first thing that you need to do in order to improve your English, and we all know this, is that you need to get the right inputs. You need to be listening to English, watching stuff in English, reading stuff in English, okay? So if you can do it in so many different ways, I mean, we have Netflix, we have YouTube, we have podcasts, everything that you can imagine. It is easier than ever to access English language, to hear how native speakers speak, so you can focus on one dialect. Like if you're really trying to learn English, which I'm assuming you are since you are here on my channel, then you can find YouTubers who can talk about things that you're interested in. They don't have to be English teachers, just whatever topics you like. If you haven't done this already, you should make a list of your interests today. Your interest, your goals, whatever it is that excites you, whatever you're trying to achieve in life, and then you should consume content that has to do with those things. Friends, I know some people will read classic novels in English because they feel that somehow that's really going to help them. If you're not really interested in classic literature, they can be quite boring. So stick to the stuff that is interesting for you. When you consume the material you like, then it will be effortless. It won't feel like a chore. You should be excited when you turn on your favorite podcast. When you go to your favorite YouTube channel, be excited and settle down in a couch or a chair, or go for a walk while you listen to something. The other thing I want to say about this is that if you don't have a certain type of content, certain channels, certain podcasts that you love, then you should really spend some time searching and digging and finding content that you like. It would really be worth it. Sometimes it can take a whole week to find a channel or a podcast that you really love. But again, by doing the digging, by taking the time to find the content that you love, to find the type of movies that you love or a series that you love, and by investing the time in that, it's really going to make it a lot easier for you, because then you shall settle down to actually grasp and consume English in various formats, because you'll know that you love that show or content. For those of you who already know what types of movies you like and series and books, etc., I want you to go ahead and list them in the comment section below. That way, the people who are still trying to find content that they like, they would be able to see your suggestions and hopefully find something that will be interesting for them too. So just write down or type in the comment section what is it that you like, whether it's a book genre or the title of a book or a series, movie, etc., and why you like it and why you recommend it. Okay, so that's the input part of it. And again, I think we are all clear on what input is and why it is important. Input and output. Input is listening and reading. The next one is output, right? And output is speaking and writing. It's communicating in the language. When you have the right input, you're putting English into your brain. But then it has to come out too. And a lot of people do not practice the output part of it. They don't use English, so everything stays in their brain. And then when time comes to use the language, they feel like, oh my God, I can't speak. The words don't come out. And this is the reason why you have to practice speaking until it becomes effortless. Friends, in the beginning, it might feel like I can't do anything, but if you consistently do it, it will only get easier. We actually did this earlier this year in the Fluency Breakthrough Challenge. This is a challenge that I lead twice a year, and we are going to do this again in the coming months. So if you're interested, I will leave a link in the description below for you to get more information about it. Basically, this challenge is all about output in English. It's about helping you speak in English, communicate in English, write in English, and create content in English. So after consuming so much English, you can actually learn really creative ways to use the language to talk to other people and have meaningful conversations. So for those of you who did participate in the Fluency Breakthrough Challenge this year and last year too, I really hope you guys are continuing the methods and the strategies that you learned, because you saw how it worked in the challenge and you really had great results. So just keep doing all of that and you'll keep improving your results. The last thing you need to do to improve your English, and you can do this alone at home, you don't need a teacher for this, is that you need to actually study now. I really don't want to talk about study right now. Sometimes it's not enough to just consume English and then speak and write English. So putting it in, putting it out, sometimes that's not just enough. You could be making the same mistakes over and over and over again and never really fixing them. You might feel like you know what you listen to, that you speak English all the time and use the language too, yet you may feel like you are not improving. That's why it's important to study. But when I say study, I don't mean that to improve your grammar you need to purchase a grammar workbook and by doing the workbook you'll then improve. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is that you should analyze your own weaknesses. You have to know what your weaknesses are, and you shouldn't need a teacher to tell you that you are right. Because when you get to a certain level of understanding English or any language, and when you can understand a native speaker, like you are here right now watching my video, you understand me. So that says that you are at a certain level already. And when you are at this level, you also have the ability to identify your own weaknesses and your own struggles. For example, let's talk about pronunciation. When you speak, if you constantly encounter a sound that is very difficult for you to make, that is a sound that you should work upon until it becomes effortless while you are speaking. Friends, if you're struggling with certain grammatical constructions, then that is something that you should study and practice more. What I highly recommend though is that you should have a journal where you can write down what you're learning and how you're progressing against the to-do list prepared by you on a daily basis. Now, depending on how you like to learn, you can either have a journal where you can write by hand, or you can have a Word document on your computer where you can just type everything on your own. Or you can use some type of social media account like Instagram to log everything that you're learning on a regular basis and keep a track of it. What I also recommend is that you keep a track of new words and sentences that you're learning and liking. If you read something in a book and you go like, wow, I really like that sentence, I like the way that was constructed, immediately write it down and refer to it when you need it. Reading and using it again and again can help you remember it well. Start incorporating sentences like that in your own English conversations. If you hear a phrase in a movie or an idiom or saying or something that you really like, then write that down as well. Friends, for doing this activity on Instagram or on any other social media platform, you can take content from the movie or you can take a picture of the movie and then that can be the photo that you can upload. In the description, you can then write what you learned from it. That way, you can see yourself creating a visual diary, not just for you, but for your followers too. After posting your material, you should be able to see and recall what your learning was from that particular content and where it came from. Your own description of that content should help you remember what it was that you learned from it and why you liked it. So I just want to end this video by saying that I actually do all these 3 things with my own English too. Even though I'm good at English, I listen to English content every day. I'm surrounded by English all the time. I not only speak English, but I also study English, and I've never stopped studying. The kind of studying that I do, it's not really grammar related. It's communication related. Sometimes it is like if I say something and I don't know whether or not that's correct, I go and research information around it. But the kind of study that I really do is mainly around communication. For example, I might say something and then depending on how a person reacts, I might realize and wonder if I could have said that in a better way. I would think why that person reacted in a particular way. Let's say they've had a negative reaction. Then I would really analyze the way in which I use the language so that I can then get the results with it. The results that I want to get to have the influence that I want to have, and this would help me build healthy relationships. This is what we call the self-analysis approach in communication. It's important to convey your message respectfully. Apart from the what factor, the how factor can make or break your relationship. This is where soft skills count. These skills help in differentiating between a good and a bad communicator. Friends, I'm continuously studying English and working on improving my own communication skills, and I want you guys to know that it is a lifelong process, and I will compare this quickly to Hindi because you guys know that I am a Hindi speaker too. It's my native language and I'm proud of it. Earlier, where was my native language compared to English? Let's say the graph of my English practice was here and that of my native language a bit higher. I was a fluent Hindi speaker. However, for better career prospects, eventually English became a priority for me once I started working, as I realized that this was the only globally acceptable language. When I was in my hometown, I was using my native language every day and I used to love it, as a result of which my English practice took a back seat. I found myself struggling to communicate in English due to lack of practice. And when that started happening, I was like, no way. I love my native language, but I really don't want to lose my English practice, especially because I aspire to be an English communication coach. For that, I had to make sure that my English was sharp enough so that I could help you all in the best possible way. Friends, after this analysis, I started practicing English a little bit more. My native language is kind of like a tool that I have in my toolbox, and when I need it, I take it out, but I seldom need it. Now I'm living away from my hometown. My husband is a Hindi speaker too, but consciously we mostly communicate in English. However, I use my native language when I'm with my husband's family or when I meet a Hindi speaker and when they do not speak in English. Since I'm already fluent in my native language, I don't have to continuously consume it using the input and output method. I've already reached the level that I want to reach with that, and it is serving my purpose well. So friends, when you realize that there are only limited hours in a day and you don't have time for everything, you have to figure out what your priorities are and then go after them. For some of you watching this video right now, English may or may not be your priority. You may or may not feel guilty. You may or may not study it enough. You may or may not work hard enough. Maybe it's because you just don't need it in your life right now. And maybe when you do need it, you're going to start using it a lot more when the realization comes. Now, that's not to say you shouldn't be preparing, because if English is going to be important for your future, then you should be motivated right now and work at improving it, because it will be indispensable in the future. I hope you can relate to what all I said in this video. Get started now. Remember the 3 things that you need to do to improve your English. Do share the type of content that you are using to work on your English skills. Like, I want you to go ahead and share in the comment section how you are working on your English skills. I will see you soon in another video. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, like, share and subscribe. Happy learning!